From a world-class museum exhibiting world-changing documents, to galleries showcasing budding talent in our bustling downtown, to a home base for music and creation, and a workshop dedicated to self-expression. We're exploring the art available to all in downtown Bentonville, next on Downtown Now. Art is everywhere in downtown Bentonville. It exemplifies the spirit and the character of our community and country, revealing our values, our culture, and our diverse stories. Sometimes it's a hidden surprise in a downtown alley. Other times it's an exhibition showcasing documents and art that changed the world. Dana Schlagenhaft sat down with Crystal Bridge's Executive Director, Rod Bigelow, to give us a preview of its newest exhibition, We the People, The Radical Notion of Democracy.
All right. I'm picking up my paper for this one because I have a list to read, and I want to make sure I get this right. There is a rare original print of the U.S. Constitution, one of 11 known in the world, coming to Crystal Bridges for the We the People, The Radical Notion of Democracy, which is opening on July 2nd. So this airs July 2nd, so it's opening today.
Okay.
It will run through January 2nd. The exhibition will include the Declaration of Independence, the Articles of Confederation, the amendments to the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, an authorized edition of the Emancipation Proclamation, and the 13th Amendment signed by Abraham Lincoln. That's a lineup. I mean,
it's a lot when you say that. It's like, whoa, the pressure.
Yeah. But you were telling me how this all came to be, and it's really an exceptional story. So,
it is.
This was a serendipitous moment, people at the right place at the right time. Can you tell us how this happened?
You bet. So on occasion, we will bid for works of art to enter the collection at auction. And we happen to be at an auction where after our auction and before the next auction we were attending, there was the sale of the Constitution. And so we were not bidders in the Constitution. And so we had the opportunity to walk down onto the floor and watched it. It was very exciting, a lot of activity. And we just got into a conversation with our board chair, Olivia Walton, and we kind of said, you know, can we borrow that? And we kind of like, maybe not. But she knew someone who was at the auction house and cavalierly said, can we borrow this? And before you knew it, we were borrowing the Constitution and bringing it to Crystal Bridges, opening on July 2nd. So yes, it's a very serendipitous moment.
And now, what does it mean to bring these kind of documents to the Heartland? This is a new place for them to be. A lot of them.
Well, I think that this is the first time these documents have been together outside of Washington, D.C., and certainly not in the South. So it is a rare opportunity for people to come see some of these founding documents that have shaped the way in which we live as a country and have really been a force within how do we evolve, how do we live as individuals and together in unity.
The story of our country, you know, it's inspirational, it's strong, it's world-changing, it's challenging and complicated.
Yes.
There's a lot of layers to it, and there are a lot of layers to the documents are going to be paired with other artwork and exhibition pieces as well. Can you tell me how you rounded out that story?
Yeah, I mean, what's exciting about them being in an art museum is that we've been able to place them within the context of some of the work that was created at the same moment in which these documents were created, and then been able to surround them as the country has evolved through these documents as well. So our curator, Polly Norstrad, a curator of Native American art, was really instrumental in bringing together the story around these documents. So early in the exhibition, you'll see that we try to create the setting of, you know, the feel of what it was like to be in the moment, which is very difficult to imagine 230 years ago. But it's really about the radical notion of pulling away as a country from a monarchy and setting off on your own course. It's really a radical act, and that's why radical is in the title. And it really also looks at the relationship with Native American tribes at the moment when these documents were being formed, because there were relationships between Native American leaders and founders that really helped shape those documents going forward. So I think we've really tried to tell a story that is a collective story about how did these things form, and then about your personal and collective responsibility going forward through amendments to the Constitution and the ways in which we have to stand up for our rights, but also come together as a country to hold ourselves accountable to a more perfect union.
To reserve free tickets for We the People, the Radical Notion of Democracy, head to crystalbridges.org. We'll have more of Dana's interview with Crystal Bridges Executive Director Rod Bigelow later on in the show. Now, from a world-class museum to the House of Songs. Music is a global language, and when musicians come together to speak that language, magic happens. And magic is happening right here in downtown Bentonville at the House of Songs. It is an intentional space for local and visiting artists to collaborate, share, and grow. Oh wow, what a perfect way to be greeted in the House of Songs by
Welcome.
A song.
Yeah, thanks for being here. We've been here for the past about 5 years in this house, and so we just love this house. It's so beautiful. We've named each room after a different Arkansas songwriter, and so this room is named after Johnny Cash. So here's another room. Walt Krebs on the wall over here. He started the House of Songs with Troy Campbell about 12 years ago. So we like to think that, you know, he gets to hear every song that's written in this house.
Oh, that's a really beautiful sentiment. I like that.
Yeah. We invite songwriters to come and stay here at the house, and so the most recent songwriting summit that we did, we had 3 local artists and then 3 from the Northeast. And so then they all stayed here, lived in the house, wrote songs together, became friends. We try to bring people together and hopefully they write a song. Most recently we had a Folk Alliance International kickoff party, so a little party here in the backyard to kind of like, you know, let them work out some of their songs and just to like let the community also know like what we're doing here.
I love this term, it's the generosity of spirit. So what I feel when I walk down the street, I lived in Austin many, many years, and I've worked around the world in different places, but I felt comfortable in my own skin here, which wasn't expected. When I came here to do research and decide what I might do here, if there was a possibility of doing a house here, and the people that would smile at me when I walked down the street, people were interested in other people, and that's something you don't always find. There's a real demand to be interesting. And I found people that were interested, and that's who I am. For me, early on in my career, the greatest things that happened since I was 18, living in Dayton, Ohio, were the moments when someone told me I mattered. Someone that was actually a musician, I was just a fan, said, why don't you start a band? And you can open for my band the next time. You seem like a really interesting or energetic person. Why don't you find an outlet? And I think a lot of people aren't told that they matter. Here, that's the number one priority. So you walk in the door, I don't ask you to write songs with me. I'm here to serve. My job is to be the Sherpa of the community. So is John's, so is everybody that's associated with me. It's that Kierkegaard, we are all equal, but we have a job to do together. I see music as a business. I don't see it as a charity. I don't see art as a charity. I think there's components that could use help for sure, because it's misunderstood the value of it. Where is the music business going? And how do these things work? And how do we create a compelling story and not just be a music residency, which I find terribly boring? Yeah. How do you push someone into creating relationships or being vulnerable enough to write something beyond themselves? You know? There's a transformation that happens when the right ingredients are put in front of you and you have this sort of this blending of another human being. It's like you're birthing something with another person every time I make something. But what I see, whether we're doing a camp, whether we're taking our vehicle for change to an apartment complex so that a community that doesn't get outside of that place, we interact. I think that's the part that really astounds me, that change. So there's thousands of artists that we've interacted with, and we've been able to track some of them just through friendships. But to see an artist from here with an artist from Holland be nominated for International Song of the Year in London is profound to me. And if something's truthful, art, music, food, conversation, the right people will like it. I don't know about the other people, but the right people will like what you're doing.
To find out more about the House of Songs, head to thehouseofsongs.org. Up next, a business focused on the art of self-expression. Stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Laura.
I'm Diane.
I'm from Bella Vista.
I'm from New Orleans.
Woo woo! You are watching Downtown Now.
And we'll be right back.
Being helpful is what Arvest Bank is all about. And part of being helpful is listening to our customers, which is one of the reasons why Arvest Go, our mobile app, has been certified 2 years in a row by J.D. Power for providing an outstanding mobile banking experience. You can easily pay friends, securely lock and unlock your cards, plus deposit checks, pay bills, and more. So download Arvest Go today. Arvest Bank, ready to help.
Improvisation, or improv for short, is a form of artistic expression that we can all use to improve our daily lives. The Improv Lab on Main Street is a leading voice in the conversation of merging the business of art with the art of business. Guest hosts Jessica Duquesne and Mark Kelly checked it out.
Hi, Mark and Jessica. Back so soon?
You know we couldn't get enough of the Improv Lab.
Well,
We had so much fun, Stacy, that we had to tell everyone about this. So
come on in. Let's do it.
We're back for more. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
I have a lot of stories, but I think most of them come back to what I love the most about being here is being in a space where I'm not judged. And I think the draw is we don't have enough places where you can come and be wholly accepted. And I get to make mistakes and experiment and tinker with my skill set, my personality, tinker with other people, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't harm me professionally. You get to be the best version of you. I get to be the best version of me, and all of us do it collectively, particularly in the work environment. And I think more often than not, that is what most people say they love the most. Applied improvisation is sort of bridging the craft of improv with, sort of the business world. So it's a fascinating mixture of something that is very art-oriented and you're using it in a business construct. Everything that I do is customized based on either what the client wants or the class that we're delivering. And so most classes consist of, there's sort of this warm-up period, and then there's drills or exercises to really hone in on a particular topic or a skill. And then we do sort of a game set where you experience it just as if you were doing real improv. At the end of the class, we circle up and we sort of debrief and we have a personal moment. What did I learn about myself? And then we give feedback, very specific, direct, intentional, kind feedback about the person on, say, our left. And it has been phenomenal to watch people grow just from getting a couple of minutes of feedback. We're taking what happened and trying to apply sort of knowledge and learning from that so that when you leave, you take it back to work with you. I think everybody should take it at some point or another. I have teenagers who love the platform and are doing amazing things. They are incredibly brilliant. Bentonville's made a huge transition over the last few years, and I think it was time. Bentonville it's getting more sexy and sophisticated, and we are bringing in large numbers of really interesting people that think vastly differently, and I think it was a good time for us to create this kind of experience. I don't think it's as scary as it used to be now that we've progressed a little bit more here. I've been here a long time, and it's just, it's something that we didn't have. We didn't have this. This is actually rare. To teach applied improvisation across the U.S., there's maybe 100 people in the U.S. that do it, maybe. And I think that's pretty cool to say we're doing it in Bentonville, Arkansas.
To learn more about Improv Lab, head to theimprovlab.com. Weave through the streets of downtown Bentonville, and you're bound to stumble upon colorful creations on the streets, in alleyways, and within the doors of galleries, even within real estate offices. Dana has more.
Michelle Deering says 211 South, a well-established and expertly curated art gallery within the Engel & Volker's office on Main Street, got an early start on the Bentonville art scene. Back in 2016, her real estate office opened a gallery to showcase budding and established artists to a community with an appreciation for art in unexpected places. She says the gallery is a creative conversation starter.
The very first conversation that always comes up is thank you. They thank us for allowing this opportunity for the artists in the community, because the artists that have not quite reached Crystal Bridges level yet, they didn't have a place to show their art when we began this in 2016. Now there's a few other options, but we were really the first option. So there was a lot of thank you. And then after that, they're like, why is there an art gallery inside a real estate office? And so we get to talk about how art's the language of Bentonville, and we use that language to draw people in for a conversation. Because we love talking about Bentonville, we're very passionate about Bentonville, and we love the opportunity to bring people in and have that conversation.
Travel a little ways down Main Street and you'll find a colorful gallery showcasing the work of glass mosaic and mixed media artist Amy Keever.
You know, I think I always knew that I was an artist inside, but I was a little bit of a people pleaser, and so I didn't really own that necessarily. I was doing these different jobs and miserable at them.
Amy opened Amy Keever Gallery in 2021 after a life change, or what she calls a God moment, and she wants her art to leave others feeling inspired.
Art, for me, always, I want it to be a positive experience, and even though we've had a lot of hard things that have gone into to create the art, I hope that people come away from the space with a feeling of hope and a feeling of love, and that's my purpose.
And if you're on the hunt for downtown galleries, don't miss Art on the Square, which opened its downtown Bentonville doors in 2020. And if you need a little hyper-local Bentonville love in your life, don't miss Gallery on 6th within the Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate Journey offices over by the Momentary.
To learn more about the galleries downtown, check out our website, downtownbentonville.org. Just click on Explore and Arts. We'll have more of Dana's interview with Crystal Bridges Executive Director Rod Bigelow, including details on the museum's big expansion plans. But that's next.
Hey, I'm Alex from Bentonville, and you're watching Downtown Now. We'll be right back. Hey!
Welcome back. All residents and visitors can view, learn from, and experience world-renowned works of art for free at Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art. Here's more of Dana's interview with Crystal Bridges Executive Director, Rod Bigelow.
Well, Crystal Bridges opened its doors in November of 2011, and something that's really exceptional is that it allows everyone to come in and explore for free. That's something that I think is a key component of Alice Walton's vision for this museum. Could you speak a little bit about that vision?
Sure. I mean, when Alice grew up in Northwest Arkansas, she didn't have the opportunity to go to a museum, an art museum like this. And as she got older and started consuming American history through art, American art, she got super excited about it individually. And then later on in her life, she thought, why don't I give this back to where I grew up? So she knew that people in Northwest Arkansas just didn't have access. And when she decided to give her collection to the museum and build this museum along with her family, it was a big moment for her to be able to say, I want to create access to art for everyone, and literally everyone. So making it free, we call it sponsored admission because Walmart sponsors that admission. Making it free also changes the game for us because absolutely everyone can come with no obligation. Now you don't have to spend a number of hours or whatever time you want to, but you can come anytime you want for any reason.
Now tell me about your background, because you got to Crystal Bridges before it opened.
I did.
Right. Now tell me a little bit about where you came from and how you ended up here.
Sure. I came here in 2010, about a year before we opened to the public. But I sort of fell into the museum world by accident. I have a finance degree and wanted to be a marine biologist in college, but that didn't work out. So that's a very circuitous route to getting to an art museum. But I started working for an art museum in Tacoma, Washington, a regional museum, and then worked for an art museum in Toledo, the Toledo Museum of Art. And in both of those projects, I really worked on building museums. And so when the opportunity came to help build Crystal Bridges, it was it's sort of a trifecta when you get to build a building, build a staff, and help build a collection at the same time. So that's my history. So it's been a while, but I'm fully dedicated to museums at this point.
So you and I met. Tell a little bit about our backstory.
Yeah.
You are a big reason I'm at Downtown Bentonville Inc. You vetted me over lunch here at Crystal Bridges.
And it went well.
It went well. Hey, I'm still here, so that's good. We spoke a little bit about, finding a piece of art at Crystal Bridges that keeps coming. You keep coming back and saying, I can't believe that's here. Yeah. For me, it was the bust of Hamilton. For anyone that likes the musical, Eliza Hamilton had that in her home well after her husband had died, and would stare at it. I just thought, you can see, I get a little emotional because it's such a beautiful story. It's a beautiful love story. And so when I come here, I see that. And I always eye it. Even if I walk past it, I eye it. There he is. He's there. I can't believe we have that piece here. Yeah. What is the piece for you that you can't believe you work around and get to see every day?
Well, first of all, I love the emotion that came from you right there, because that is the kind of emotion that we hope is evocative of what people experience at the museum. And I also love that you said we have this here. So it's your collection, it's your museum. That's exactly right. And for me, I walk to work, and so I get to walk through underneath this monumental spider created by Louise Bourgeois. And it is just this moment that creates a moment of awe for me, because it is this powerful image of what Louise Bourgeois believed was a representation of her mother. And she had a fraught relationship with her mother and her father, and her mother really brought her through difficult times, and so she made that representation to really lift herself up and her mother. So for me, it's Louise Bourgeois.
Now see, I know the backstory. And that's the neat thing about coming in and exploring the backstory of a lot of these pieces. So Crystal Bridges has permanent collections, and then you balance it with temporary collections. And you display American art. So what does it mean to be a museum of American art? And then we'll talk a little bit about the exhibitions that you bring in.
Oh, great question. We are Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art, and for us what that means is that we collect artists and show artists that have made a significant contribution to America during their career, sometime in the United States. So it doesn't mean you have to be born in America. It doesn't mean you have to have a passport that's American. It means that you've contributed during that time. And so our collection is about 3,500 objects, many of them that you see when you walk in the building. We continue to add to that collection, and we have a commitment to show work here and change it so that when you come once, maybe 3 months later, you'll see something completely different. As you look around in this space, you can see works talk to each other very differently. So we create experiences, whether they're small exhibitions or changes in these gallery spaces or large exhibitions that really evoke a response from people. So, for example, we have a wonderful exhibition right now that is closing late in July, which is called Dirty South, which is an exhibition that was created from the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts. So we borrow works from and exhibitions from other museums as well around the country. And then we've got some great exhibitions coming up as well. So there's always something new and exciting happening at the museum.
That was just half of Dana's interview with Rod Bigelow. Check out the full interview on our Facebook page or website. And head to downtownbentonville.org to find out more about the galleries, businesses, and museums mentioned in the show. Before we go, don't forget to reserve tickets for We the People, the Radical Notion of Democracy at Crystal Bridges. Head to their website for more information. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.
We hope you enjoyed this episode, produced by the community nonprofit Downtown Bentonville, Inc. Our team works year-round to build and promote a welcoming and lively downtown Bentonville through experiences, education, and storytelling. Last year, as events were put on hold in our region, Downtown Bentonville, Inc. launched Downtown Media, a community-supported, community-driven storytelling platform. You can see our videos on social media, before movies at Skylight, and right here on KNWA. If you would like to learn more about DBI and Downtown Media, or be featured in one of our storytelling projects, or support us in an upcoming year, please visit downtownbentonville.org.
Being helpful is what Arvest Bank is all about. And part of being helpful is listening to our customers, which is one of the reasons why Arvest Go, our mobile app, has been certified 2 years in a row by J.D. Power for providing an outstanding mobile banking experience. You can easily pay friends, securely lock and unlock your cards, plus deposit checks, pay bills, and more. So download Arvest Go today. Arvest Bank, ready to help.